All right, let's finish these last couple problems. So we were talking about how you need to first isolate the radical and then quote square both sides. Remember that was in air quotes. So we're going to isolate the radical. Which we've got, right? Radical alone equals stuff. Now we're going to square both sides. So when you square both sides, you're going to raise each side to the power 2, and the square and square root cancel. So on the left-hand side, we've got 10x squared minus 7x minus 5. Now on the right-hand side, we actually have to do this squaring. So remember, 3x minus 1 squared is 3x minus 1 times 3x minus 1. Now you have a choice. If you can do that just straight out, you can do it, or you can use that box method that I showed you. So 3x minus 1, 3x minus 1. So I get 9x squared minus 3x minus 3x plus 1. So I'm going to rewrite this left-hand side as 9x squared minus 6x plus 1. So my equation is 10x squared minus 7x minus 5 equals 9x squared minus 6x plus 1. So now we look at this and we're like, hey, this is quadratic. And we know several ways to solve a quadratic equation, but the easiest way is to get 0 on one side. Now, which one do you move? Are you going to move all the green ones to the left, or are you going to move all the black ones to the right? Here, I would move all the green ones to the left because when you do the subtraction, you want to make sure your x squared has a positive coefficient. It's harder when the x squared is negative. So I'm going to subtract, ooh, that's kind of big. I'm going to subtract 9x squared. I'm going to add 6x. And I'm going to subtract 1. Because that on the right, cancel. Minus 6x plus 6x cancels. Plus 1 minus 1 cancels. So that right-hand side becomes 0, which is cool. The left-hand side, let's do the math. 10x squared minus 9x squared makes one single x squared. Negative 7x plus 6x is minus 1x. And minus 5 minus 1 is minus 6. So now we've got a quadratic equation. It's equal to 0. Once it's equal to 0, then you have two choices. Try to factor it or use the quadratic formula. So I'm going to factor this one. So negative 6, I need a plus minus combo that adds up to negative 1. So I need to do negative 3 plus 2. And since this is that trick factoring, we can just double bubble right away. X minus 3 times x plus 2 equals 0. And then set each bubble equal to 0. So x minus 3 equals 0, meaning x equals 3. And then x plus 2 equals 0, so x equals negative 2. And remember what I said in class. These are probably your answers. Probably. What do you have to do? You've got to check them. So let's zoom out, come over, and let's check. And we're not just checking like one step before. We're checking all the way at the beginning. So let's check x equals 3. So I have square root of 10 times x squared, but our x is 3. So 10 times 3 squared minus 7 times 3 minus 5, that's all under a square root. Is that the same as, remember that's a question, 3 times x minus 1? So let's do this math. 3 squared is 9. So I have 10 times 9, that makes 90. Minus 7 times 3, so minus 21, minus 5. So let's see, what does that make? 90 minus 26, which should be 64. So the left-hand side became the square root of 64. Is that the same as 3 times 3 minus 1, which is 9 minus 1? So the square root of 64 is 8. 9 minus 1 is 8. Booyah! X equals 3 is a good answer. It doesn't always mean that the other answer is bad. It just means we have to try it. So let's try it. I'm going to check x equals negative 2. So I have the square root of 10 times negative 2 squared minus 7 times negative 2 minus 5. All of that was under a square root. Is that the same as, question mark, 3 times negative 2 minus 1? I don't know. I have to check. So let's do the math. Negative 2 squared makes 4. So I have 10 times 4, which is 40. Minus 7 times minus 2 makes plus 14. And then subtract 5. So this becomes 54 minus 5, which is 49. So my left-hand side became the square root of 49. Is that the same as 3 times negative 2? So negative 6 minus 1. So the square root of 49 is 7, and negative 6 minus 1 is negative 7. Is 7 the same as negative 7? No. Because that would mean if I had $7, it's the same as owing $7, which is definitely not correct. So that one didn't work. So x equals negative 2 is not an answer. Just equals x equals negative or positive 3. So my answer here, after checking my probablys, is just x equals 3. Well, sometimes there are two answers. Sometimes there's no answer. Sometimes there's one answer. You just have to go through, check your work.